Welcome to this week's session with the Putnam County Council on Aging in conjunction with the Putnam County District Library. This week we are taking a look at, we're going to look at 5 special features that are in Google Docs that you might not be aware of that are there. So I'm going to pull across here a Google Doc. Just went to my Google account, logged in, and then went to Documents. So when I do this, then what you will see is I am going to make a new document here, bring this across for you. And now what I have here is I'm going to close this up there for a minute because I want you to see how you have an option. The very first thing is instead of always working with pages, this is what you'll find is, you go down your page, you type your information, and then you get a page break and it keeps going. Instead of working with pages in a doc, you can also not have to deal with those page breaks if you were to go to File and then go to Page Setup. And here you have the option of doing what's called Pageless. This is something that if you are using large images, you want to have more area to work with and not have to mess with those page breaks. Notice what's happening, how it's going back and forth with the screen showing my sizing. So if I go to OK, then what happens is now I have a much larger view here. I can put in larger images. I could put in sheet, like a spreadsheet type information that would be able to take up more space. So that is the first kind of little shortcut to show you today is how to go about using page view. Or pageless view, excuse me. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to my file and my page setup. And I am going to also, I want to make note how you can change your background color as well as you could set this to be default. So if you always wanted it to be this way. I'm going to change back to pages because I want to go on to our 4 other notes today, or 4 other shortcuts, and the Pageless view will not work for that. So the second one that I wanted to talk about is with Dropdowns. Now, what you'll see here is you'll see now all of a sudden you have these kind of, I want to say hints of how you could just real quick make meeting notes or real quick do something with email. If you do and then we also have the more. But if you also if you do the @ symbol, here's what happens is you get your actual drop downs. And so now you have even more options of different things that you could automatically place right in. So I could just automatically say, I want a date in here. And I say, okay, and I've got my date. Now, the other thing with that is if you go up to Insert and you were to go then down to Drop Down here, you can actually create your own drop down. So you could put in here what you want to have as kind of like your little shortcut for your drop downs. So that is the second. The third is talking about how we can make checklists. I don't know if any of you make checklists, but a real quick, easy way, you can use the drop downs. You can make it, create the checklist that way. But if you were to just use and go to your, what they call the square brackets, right beside the P on your keyboard, and if I were to do the square brackets, now all of a sudden I do obviously the left and the right, and now I'm making my checklists every time. So I simply did the left bracket, the right bracket, I hit return, and then it made my checklist. And now all of a sudden I have my checklist every time I want to type something in. I've got a checklist that it's making. I'm going to get rid of what I had here on the screen just to make it a little bit easier. Then the next thing we're going to look at is how you can easily do a watermark. If I go to Insert and I go to Watermark, I simply then have my option here where I could do an image or I could do text. If I click on text, obviously whatever I type in here is now going to appear as my watermark for my document. If I go to image, I have the option of selecting that image, and I have all these different ways that I can insert an image. If I simply, I'm going to go to my Google Drive here, and I'm going to just click on the computer that I had in there. Now I have that as a watermark. And then the fifth and the last thing that I wanted to show you today is again another little shortcut. If I do a colon, not a semicolon, a colon, now all of a sudden I have all of these different emojis that pop up. So I can very quickly add an emoji in to my document. So we've looked at and talked about the 5 different what I would call shortcuts, just ways of making things quick in Google Docs. That would be the Pageless View. That would be inserting drop-downs with the @ symbol, checklists using the closed square brackets, watermark, which can be found under insert, and then emoji by simply typing in a colon. I hope everyone has a fantastic